Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Wild Women Wednesday. Hold on a moment while I get this going into the Wild Revolution. Let's see. Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Wild. Okay, just getting this going. Sharing it to the Wild Revolution. There. Name up here. Okay, there we go. Going into the Wild Revolution. Hi, welcome. I am still amazed by how nervous I get every time for this thing. Oh, good, somebody's there. Hi somebody. Sometimes it tells me who it is, sometimes it doesn't. But thank you so much for joining me. So this is one of my favorite topics. There is a call to leadership right now, and I'm guessing you're here because you felt it. We need more feminine, heart-based leaders. And by feminine, it doesn't have to be women. We need healers, we need change makers, light bearers, thought leaders, messengers. There's this amping up that's happening right now so that we can evolve. That's one possible story of what's going on, and it's what I'm choosing to believe, that the climate change and the violence, and we're so out of whack that there's an opportunity in it, that it's like the volume's being turned up, that the water is starting to boil, and it's a wake-up call. And I see people stepping into leadership all around me, and perhaps you're here because you're feeling the call too. And it can be so scary to step into leadership. But you're right to be scared because it means becoming an authority figure. Oh, Emily, it's you. I don't know why it doesn't tell me it's you. I mean, give me a thumbs up if you have any issues around authority figures. You know, if there's been authority figures in your life that you just have some crummy gunk on, you know. So it means you stepping into that role for other people where they might be projecting their authority stuff onto you. It involves taking on a tremendous amount of responsibility, perhaps, and working on our stuff around visibility, around perhaps having an increased lack of privacy, and then also that you know, what if I fail? What if I go big and everyone's watching me and cheering me on, and then I just crash? So I would love to hear from anyone who's willing to share a little bit about how you're feeling called to be a leader. I would love to just anything, any little niggles that you've had, any little middle of the night. Oh, Emily's got some stuff on authority. any just inkling you have about what might be pulling you to step into something bigger, I would love to hear. And I'd also love to hear about what is your biggest obstacle in the way of stepping into leadership. You know, is it the visibility? Is it the becoming an authority? Is it the responsibility? Is it something else I didn't even mention? I'd love to hear. Just type in below what it might be. Here, I'm gonna try to watch the Wild Healers Rising feed too. See, because it's hard to see like what's happening in both. I mean, the Wild Revolution. Bear with me. Okay, nothing happening there. Yeah, sometimes the comments don't come through. Ooh, Karen. I'm so glad you're here, Karen. I know you feel the call. What are you saying? I was thinking about you when I was writing this. To do more as a role model to protect the planet. Yes, please. Oh my God, please. I mean, for me, that's what the call is all about. Well, it's parallels, right? I mean, because we need the planet for our own sanity. Okay, and Karen says the obstacle is that I'm not aggressive, dominant enough. Interesting. That's so interesting, because I feel like the call is that we're out of balance, that the masculine, it doesn't necessarily mean men, because I've certainly got a mega dose of this, that masculine, like striving, like check off your to-do list, like we gotta go, we gotta push. It's a beautiful energy, and there's just way too much of it. So the call is more for this feminine leadership that's more in the flow of things and a little more gentle. So I don't think you need to be aggressive, dominant. Although I guess there could be a whole nother talk on finding that balance within yourself. Yeah, but I'm so excited you're here, Karen. So by the end of our time here today, you are hopefully going to be feeling some momentum, inspiration, and companionship in what's in your way. And this, I'm hoping that you're going to feel like, okay, yeah, I'm right to think this is hard, and it's totally worth it. My role as a leader is to inspire other people to step into leadership. So that's my Kool-Aid that I hope you drink. And I hope you leave this talk today with some fire burning in your belly, to get you moving and to get this on the front burner. So I'm going to start with a story, because stories are so medicinal, aren't they? Our brains are wired for stories. You know, you can get this content anywhere, but a good story stays with you. So take that in mind when you're stepping into leadership, that stories are probably one of your most powerful tools. Okay, so this is a bit vulnerable because it's happening right now, is that I have been seriously wrestling with gremlins lately. So many of you know I'm going to be facilitating this workshop on Saturday. We have around 80 women signed up, and I've never been in front of that many people before. And there's this part of me that just thinks that I'm going to be fine. Oh, I've done workshops, I'm going to be fine. No. The gremlin wrestling started maybe about a week ago, just middle of the night. Doubt to the core. Why are you even doing this? I think I was happier in private practice. Why did I get myself on this path? This is miserable. And then I kind of came through it, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm through it. And then no, there's this other wave. We had somebody who had signed up for Wild Women Rising drop out and give us this criticism that, it just feels like we're all about earning money, and it feels awful, and she doesn't want to be a part of the program. So it's this great opportunity to step into, okay, well, what if that is hers? And where does it hook me? Like stuff around money. Am I greedy? Is it okay to want money? Is it okay to be doing this for money? It's like, okay, there's some stuff there for me to work out. And then also I sent out a request for feedback from all the Wild Women Rising graduates about the program so I can make it better, the mastery program. And, so they gave me like all sorts of great feedback and like all sorts of ways to improve. And it was just so funny to notice that like every little thing that like wasn't saying it was the most amazing thing in the universe was like, and I think it's, because I'm about to stand in front of 80 people, and it's just like, who do you think you are? I mean, I guess it's not quite that for me. It's more like, it could just fail epically. I'm just going to get up there and just going to fail epically. And everyone's going to just hate me. And it was so funny because I feel like I'm this role model. Like one of the primary things I do is to help women overcome that need for approval, to have that be the driver that's constantly driving of like, oh, I just really want people to like me, what a prison that is. And I help them break free from it. And it's so funny to think like, oh, I've come so far with this, and then to find this part of me that, like really believes that like everyone is gonna love me. And I'm just like, oh, sweetie, like that's just so silly. Like that's just not gonna happen. Yeah, so I've just been going through growing pains as my business grows larger. I think there's going to be more and more things projected onto me because I'm just more at a distance. And then maybe from people who were involved in my programs in the beginning, I'm just expecting there's going to be this wave of like, wait, we liked the early years, like bring back the first album. What is this new shit kind of stuff? And also just getting bigger and more successful. I think there can be those projections on you around like, well, who does she think she is to be making all this money or to be, leading all these people or, just, I think we're programmed as women to bond through our misery in a way. It's just so easy to bond around like, oh, my husband or, oh, my kids or, life is hard and it can be so hard to just celebrate because it brings up the stuff in us like, wow, if she's doing it, why am I not doing it? Or, whatever. I'm not saying that's what it is for me, but I mean, that people are feeling about me, but I think that's just something that goes along with it. So yeah. But the thing I want to say is that it's torture and it's totally worth it. It's this sacred crucible that the ego just kind of gets burned up in. And it's so cool to see the progress that like all this funkiness I'm feeling. I had that the first year of Wild Women Rising when it was just 9 women in my living room. And now like doing a 2-hour workshop is nothing for me. And it takes like getting 80 women in a room to feel the same amount of like gunk. And it also feels good like, well, I can help more people the more shit I go through, right? Like I wouldn't be that great in helping leaders if I'm like, well, I'm sorry you're going through stuff. I don't know. I don't go through any of that. Yeah. So it's this crucible that I go through every single time. And it just like burns up all those ego parts until I just feel so humbled that I'm just praying to Spirit to come through me. Because the ego just needs to be out of there. All right, you guys ready to dive in? Give me a something if you're ready. It's so weird just talking into this vortex. I know you're there, but give me a little something. Let's dive into the strategies. All right. Yeah, it just feels so weird and vulnerable to be talking about myself and not knowing how any of this is landing. All right. Strategy number 1 is to let it be both personal and spiritual. So this on the spiritual level, I believe that there's a call that you're thanks, Karen. That you're feeling that there's something larger than you that is really nudging you or pushing you to step towards something. And Emily's ready. And I just want to check in and see if I'm missing anything in the Wild Revolution because it's just weird how all the comments don't go into one feed. Okay, not missing anything. Yeah, around the time that I was turning, I think 38, like I encountered all these rattlesnakes. And then I just started feeling called to use the rattle. And I remember the first time I used a rattle at my friend's baby shower, and I just felt so nervous and weird and awkward. Yeah. But there were so many signs from Spirit that were like nudging me, like this is the right path, keep stepping towards it. So I want you to know that there's something happening that's bigger than you, and to trust it and to follow it and to look for the signs of reassurance that you're on the right track. And then I also want to reassure those of you who might have a personal driver that also might be involved. And I think this is common for a lot of people, certainly musicians, that there can be a frozen need or a wound that's also driving you to want to get in front of people or want to do what you're doing, I mean, classic example would be, someone's daughter dies of cancer and they want to devote their lives to, getting funding for cancer research. Or it can be something less lofty. For me, I've recognized there's this wound in this way that I wasn't seen by my mother, and I could go into the whole backstory of why that was for her, but there's this need to be seen as successful in a spiritual creative path, that there was this story that's not valuable, and of course it's enhanced by the culture at large. So there's like this drive in me to like prove that. And when you have these wounds driving you, it's only momentarily satiating to get that validation. And then it just kind of goes away because it's not from that person at that age. And it's okay to still let it drive you. The important thing is to name it, claim it, and reign it. To, just like know that that's your driver and just keep an eye on it. Because I think a lot of people get into trouble when they step into power and there's that driver and they're not aware of it. And it, their needs can get in the way of the bigger thing that they're trying to do. So what I'm saying is to be aware, use your wound for good. And it needs to be more than the wound, because when you go through that ego crucible, you're just going to throw the towel in, because there has to be that mission that's larger than you. So I'd love to hear from those of you who might know what your invisible driver is. I know that's probably super vulnerable. But if you know that there's kind of like a personal driver that is also motivating you to do this hard work, I think it'd be helpful to put that in the feed just so other people can read it and know that they're not alone. And just as people put things in, just love them up, just make sure you're loving each other up, because it can be super vulnerable. There's this zeitgeist that, it has to be totally selfless. And I don't think it always is, this is really hard work, and sometimes there needs to be a personal motivator. And then not everyone has a personal motivator like that. I know a lot of people who are, I guess, I don't know if I came up with this or if it's just a term, but reluctant leaders, it's like, it's the last thing in the world that you want to do. Like, you have no desire to be in the spotlight, no desire to be a thought leader, it's just, oh God, please no. But then there's that call and you can't ignore it because it's pushing you. So let us know if you're a reluctant leader as well. Okay. Stretch. All right. Number 2 is a little bit more brief. It's just walk the walk and talk the talk. So this is where you get clear on, what do you stand for? What's the movement that you want to lead? You get to decide what's in the Kool-Aid. You get to decide what's the change that you want to see in the world. And let's see what Karen says. Being a leader feels selfish, which is something I don't have space to be while I was growing up. Yes. Yeah, it's so funny because it's like so the opposite of selfish, right? I mean, like, your mission, Karen, is so beautiful. Like, it's like, how is that selfish? And I know, like, it's just not logical, these gremlins. Emily says, a lot of why I pursue things is trying to be the kind of healer, provide the kind of healing. Oh, somebody's loving Emily up as I read this. I love it. I felt like I needed but didn't get. Yes, that's so common. It's so common. What a beautiful, beautiful driver. It's a great one for parenting too. Some of the best parents I know had the shittiest parents. I'm not saying your parents are shitty, but yeah, I love it. So, once you get clear on your mission, then I encourage you to tell stories, because stories are like magic spells of possibility. And here's my little plug for visibility. I know a lot of people just, myself included, sometimes you just really don't want to get in front of people. But we live in this time that is so awesome. Like anybody who wants to can get out and share their message in a really big way pretty damn easily, right? I mean, think about this right now. I'm just projecting this onto Facebook. Anyone who wants to can tune in. Maybe this isn't the best example, but I mean, social media is awesome. I mean, yeah, it's a tool like any other tool that could be used in not the best ways, but think about the time before social media. Like, I would have to go out in Times Square if I'm lucky with a megaphone and just start shouting at anyone, or, mail out a bunch of letters by hand. Now people can sign up for my email list, and you can just get information out into people's inboxes, by the hundreds, by the thousands, but with like the click of a button. And then social media, people can follow you who want to follow you. Recently, one of my neighbors, I just noticed that she was changing, that she all of a sudden was getting kind of fierce and more powerful and more just present. And I asked her, what's up? And she said she'd been following somebody's Instagram feed that was inspiring her. Some kind of feminist feed. I don't know exactly what the feed was, but that's just one person's Instagram profile. And that's just one person that's affected by that person's Instagram profile. So you can create and inspire in these various forms of social media. If you want to create and publish a book on your own, you can. You don't, or music, you can. You don't have to, find somebody who's willing to say that you're good enough. Like, you can just put it out there and promote it yourself. Okay. All right. Number 3. Number 3 is to get really good at enrollment conversations. So enrollment conversations, it's something that I teach my healer entrepreneurs, but it's so much bigger than sales. I mean, almost everybody I know just hates sales. They're like, ugh. But sales can be kind of awesome when you're selling something that you believe in. It's sacred. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech is an enrollment conversation. Okay, money's not involved, but he is enrolling people in a different vision of what's possible. Being a good leader and being good at enrollment conversations is being a good interrupter, where you interrupt people's lives, which for the most part can be pretty mediocre. I mean, I think my life's freaking awesome, and, it's pretty mediocre on a lot of levels, right? Like, in terms of what's changing in the world, we need to wake up. We need to change the dream that we're dreaming. So being a good interrupter is helping people get out of their comfort zones. And it's an art form. It is so not easy to do, because to get out of your comfort zones, you have to get really uncomfortable. So you have to help people see the cost of remaining stuck and help them, weave this spell of possibility where it's a vision that they maybe didn't have before, and then that they can believe that it's possible. So that's one of my favorite, is getting really good at enrollment conversations in whatever form that is. It's just enrolling people in your vision and then getting their support in any way. It might be money, it might be something else. It might just be them spreading the word, spreading the seeds. Okay, last one. How are we doing on time? Okay. All right. Are you with me? Give me a little something if you're with me, because it's so weird just talking into the abyss of Facebooklandia. All right. Number 5 is my favorite. And so number 5 is, once you start stepping into this role, you need to take immaculate care of yourself. And I know everyone says it, and everyone says it for a reason. Because you need to stay grounded, because once you step into that spotlight and step into that leadership, people are going to project their stuff onto you. Oh, Jenny Reed, hi mama. they're going to project their stuff onto you, both good and bad. You know, it's like, we love you, we hate you, you know, you're this, you're that. It's just going to all get projected onto you. And you know, the wise one is not shaken by praise or blame. So you got to stay grounded, and you got to find these ways to reset your nervous system, because stepping into leadership involves like constantly expanding your comfort zone. Like I was talking about in the beginning of this call, you know, 2 years ago, it was like this little group in my living room was freaking my shit out. You know, and now it takes a group of 80 people to freak my shit out, but it just keeps going. You know, there's no arriving. There's always a next level, and it's hard on your nervous system. It's really hard. So I do something every single day. I swim laps 2 days a week. I go to yoga 2 days a week. Take naps. I'd love to hear some of your ideas of what you guys do. I'm going to ask about that in a minute, but you can go ahead and put it here. And also there's this, it sounds kind of weird, but it's like this God energy that comes through, or a goddess energy. You know, it's the spirit coming through you and using you as a vessel, and it's exciting, and it's very creative, and it like gives you all this energy to proceed with your mission. And it's also really uncomfortable. So I always have this transition when I'm transitioning from my work day to being my mom day, where I just like go and get my yayas out. Like I just go and like swim laps. Jenny Reed says meditation. Good for you. I cannot meditate. I mean, besides the swimming laps, that is quite meditative, but I mean, meditation is awesome. Karen says dance and journal. Oh, dancing is such a good one. I was just dancing before this call. Yeah, what a great way to move the nervous energy through, and like invite the God energy through, and then just move it through and out. Another one is you need friends who just love you no matter what. Like ideally friends who were in your life before you stepped into leadership, that they just like don't care if you're a big mucky muck or not. You know, they're just like, we knew you when, and we don't care if you succeed or fail. It's just, that's so calming on the nervous system to be around your people, you know, who really know you and love you and see you, and not the projections. And then at the same time, you need a tribe of people who are doing the same thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, in your field, but, you know, other people who are stepping into leadership. Or I love how Brene Brown says, you know, in the arena. You know, because people who aren't in the arena are going to project their fears onto you and be like, no, that's not a good idea. Like, don't do it. Don't send out all those emails. Or, you know, maybe you shouldn't get on stage, or whatever your thing is. Or like, oh, God, I don't know about that business venture. Because they're not doing it, right? And there's a reason they're not doing it, because of the fear or whatnot. So, you know, you want to have people who are in the arena with you, you know, taking the blows. Jenny Reed says, yes, I love the arena talk. I just only saw that this year. I've been missing out on this key piece of culture, Brene Brown's TED Talk. So it's so nice to have people in your life who just like, oh yeah, I totally get it. Other thing I highly recommend is having a mentor or guide, someone who's a bit beyond you, and they see where you're going, and they see what you're doing as really no big deal, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, I've been there. And they just tell you can do it. You know, it's so different to have somebody who's like up on the mountain being like, yeah, you can climb the mountain. You know, you just go left there and right there, and there's these footholds, and you've got this. Versus, you know, somebody on the ground who's like, yeah, you can climb that mountain. You know, they don't know. You don't trust them. You know, but someone who's been there and done that, like just telling you can do it, makes a huge difference, and maybe even telling you, you know, which steps to take, which direction to go, so you don't have to invent the wheel. And the last one here is you need to find a way to regularly tap into your creativity and inspiration, and follow your desire, not necessarily get attached to your desire, but desire literally means of of the sire, of the king. It's kingly, it's queenly, it's sacred, because your desire is partially your intuition guiding you, and feminine leadership is about the balance, about the flow, balancing out that masculine striving and productivity with, more of like a daydreamy space. Sometimes when I'm striving, just things feel kind of dried up, and they actually don't go where I want them to go, and it's certainly a lot of effort. And then sometimes I'll just go and listen to my body and lay down, and then the best idea comes, right? So it's about just like really having that downtime, that space in your schedule, to play the ukulele, garden, swim, go thrifting, take a nap, meditation, dance and journal, reading books that feed you and nourish you. I'd love to hear any other ideas for self-care that people have. I always like collecting self-care, because then the mirror neurons go on, just reading it, right? Like even when I read dance and journal, I'm like, it's those good feelings that come up with it. So, all right, deep breath. All right. So my final message to you is we need you to step into your power now. Like things are, Jenny says singing. These are the best ideas. Singing is the best. It just like opens up your heart. I love singing. So we cannot afford to ignore this call anymore. Like things are amping up. The climate change, the extinction rates, the violence, like all these shootings, like what the F? So I strongly encourage you to do the work, to remove the gunk, to take those steps towards it. My notes here say the earth is going to shit. So how are you going to feel when, your kids ask you when they're grown, what did you do to slow down climate change? Or, if you don't have kids, you're on your deathbed and you're having that reckoning with yourself. Like, did I follow the things that felt important for me to follow, or did I let my fear or stasis get in the way? And think about, what if we all stepped it up? Like all the amazing people you have in your life and all their amazing visions, like what if we all really moved towards them? And so many people are. If you need inspiration, there's just people all around that inspire me on the daily and give me a kick in the butt daily. So thank you so much for coming today. I'm so excited to see, I think everyone I know here is coming on Saturday. And for those of you who are watching after, I want to invite you this Saturday. If you identify as female, we can interpret that loosely. But if you've had some conditioning of growing up as, female in this culture, I want to invite you to an all-day long workshop called The Gathering, where we are going to be wrestling with the strongest voice. We're going to be identifying and then working with the strongest voice that gets in our way and possibly permanently shifting it. I've had people just from this exercise that we do alone permanently shift that voice that's really getting in their way. And then we'll also be tapping into intuition, finding that guide within us. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a bit wild. I mean, just like that many women in a room. I'm so excited. And just to give some examples in Wild Women Rising, I mean, there's so many stories I could tell you about every single woman in Wild Women Rising. But last year we had 3. This was just what came to me before the talk. There were 3 psychiatrists in the program. Raise your hand if you think there might be some issues in our medical system. you know, it's a little bit less than perfect. Not necessarily the people. I think the people, you know, are really doing their best. It's the system. So we had 3 psychiatrists, and it's just so cool to watch their growth. One of them is involved in functional medicine, Tracy McCarthy. She's giving a talk on Sunday around how your body you can tap into the resource of your body to naturally heal yourself. On the Wild Revolution, you can see about her workshop there. It's free. It's on Sunday. So she's so fed up with the system. She's moving into functional medicine. She's giving talks. She's got her own business to help people with preventative medicine. Another woman is doing a high priestess training, and then she's going to be incorporating that into launching her own business, I believe, to blend, you know, healing work with high priestess training. You know, this is traditionally trained psychiatrists stepping into this. And then the third one is Elizabeth Gutierrez Nguyen. She now has a private practice doing what she calls spiritual psychiatry, and she has an inspiring blog. I think it's called The Soul Journey or something like that. But she's amazing. If you are looking for a psychiatrist, you can PM me and I'll give you her information. So these are just 3 examples of women who heard the call. And, you know, it takes some ovaries to, in that medical system, like call yourself a spiritual psychiatrist, or, you know, put yourself out there to do these talks around, you know, your body's natural healing. Like, that's just so not a part of the culture. So kudos to them. And I hope that that inspires you to step into your own leadership. Come to the gathering. You are going to feel so inspired at the end of that day. People have told me just from, you know, the 2-hour workshops that I give that, you know, for weeks afterwards, they've got this momentum that they're just going. And then, you know, usually need another dose, but it will get you going for some time. So I'm going to go ahead and put that link into the feed. So for that, those of you who have not signed up can, because there are only 12 spots left, which is crazy. It's crazy. I think it's awesome and crazy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday, and hope to meet some new folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We only have 3 of these left. And next week, I believe I'm going to be doing a guided visualization to help you really feel into what might be possible for you. So thank you so much, and hope to see you soon. Oh, what's your biggest takeaway from the day? I'd love to just hear what your biggest takeaway is. There's a bit of a lag, so it's going to be a bit of a pause as I wait for that to come in. Ooh, there's an exploding Jenny Reed. Yeah, what are you taking away? There's always a lag for it to come in. Karen says, thank you. All right. Well, you can type it in after the feed ends. Or maybe it'll show up after the feed ends. But thank you so much. I hope you feel inspired. And I'll see you soon. Oh, Karen says, don't let my fear get in the way. Yes, great. I love it. Don't let the fear get in the way. And it'll just keep reasserting itself. And then you'll just wrestle it. All right. Love you guys. Bye.